If you clicked on this video, you probably have olive skin, and that means that you probably compromise a lot with makeup products, spending the same amount of money as everyone else, but maybe getting products that just aren't suited for you. This sounds like a really familiar problem. This is part 2 of the best makeup for olive skin, and this just isn't makeup that like works for us. It's truly makeup that helps enhance olive skin, and I think just looks so beautiful on olive undertones. So if you're looking for recommendations that truly are going to be staples and products that you love, these are some of my absolute favorites that are thoroughly tested, and the shades, nothing is going to pull warm or too orange, and they're actually going to help enhance, bring out your olive skin, and just make you love your undertone. Don't forget to subscribe for more fair and olive skin makeup content. Give this video a like so I know to make more of them, and if you do appreciate my content and want to support it directly, you can leave me a super thanks, which is that heart icon near the like button. But let's get started. With the weather warming up, I feel like there's just this overflow of bronzy makeup products on the market. In my experience, most of them pull really orange, or they're just unflattering. Like, I feel like bronze tones on the market, they're just not really suited for olive skin. But I have a favorite here because it's so customizable. You can really get the perfect intensity, and I think the shade is really nice as well. This is one from Pi Skincare. These are the Impossible Glow Bronzing Drops. They do have 3 different shades of these. These are just the traditional bronze versions, but I do also like the champagne version, and then I think they have one more, maybe if you have deeper skin. These do look quite warm in the bottle, but the fact that you sheer it out with the moisturizer, I usually only use about 1 dot of this, helps to give my skin a little bit of glow, but it doesn't turn it orange or just look too like orangey bronze, if you know what I'm saying. I feel like it's just so nice to have something like this that you can control the pigment of, because like I said, just in my experience, most of those bronzy products that they sell, they're too much, they're too orange, and they never flatter my skin. But I love these. They also have really great skincare ingredients within them, and this will last you forever, especially if you only use a dot. All these products I'm sharing, by the way, are brand new to the second edition of the video. None of these are repeats from the first video, so they're all new products that I have discovered for olive skin, and this is one of my new favorites from Covergirl, the Color Correcting. This is a serum, primer, and moisturizer. It's basically just like a moisturizing primer type of feel. It's not too thick. It's sort of like a medium consistency, quite lotiony, but it is green. Now, this doesn't really like stay the true green shade that it is. It starts to turn a little bit yellow, but it does keep a lot of that green tone within it. Like, it just turns to the perfect olive shade. This is a primer, really helps to have the foundations that I put over this match me a lot better. It's also a really good mix-in product. I find that this mixes in really well with a lot of different foundation formulas. It's also not too pigmented, so it doesn't like bring it too overboard or add too much thickness to foundations. If you need a good color correcting primer, this also corrects redness obviously, but something to mix in, just add a little bit of greenness to your foundation or primer. This one is so good and affordable, and I really like the packaging. Nice pump. It feels like a really nice product. Last but not least is another mix-in product. I think the shade of these is so beautiful. You can also use them on their own. These are the Typology. These are their glow drops. I don't know if they have multiple shades of these, but this champagne color is truly gorgeous. I find a lot of champagnes tend to pull very warm on my skin. This is like a true neutral, like, look at that shade. Not too dark for fair skin. These are stunning mixed into a moisturizer. Like, the glow that these give you, they are very watery, so they don't add weight at all. I can't describe like how pretty these are. The shade they just nailed. It's really one of the prettiest like champagne highlighter products I've ever tried. It looks stunning on olive skin. I did mention in my previous version of this video, if you feel like all highlighters pull just weird on you, to try out silver. These I feel like do have a lot of like silver pearl in them. I think that's why I love them so much, but they do have a little bit of a champagne glow in there as well. Next, this concealer is definitely more emollient, so I would only use it if you have like normal to drier skin, but I think the shade of this is such a great specifically Fair Olive shade from RMS Beauty. This is their Uncoverup concealer. This is the shade 000, which just looking at it in the pot, like isn't that just like a perfect match to my skin? I feel like this is my closest matching product that I have. It doesn't really need to be mixed with anything. Has good coverage. Like I mentioned, it's emollient. I still like it on the face if I'm feeling a little bit more dry. Just make sure to set it down. But this shade 000, such a good one. Next for foundations, I actually have two foundations that I have now that claim to have olive undertones, and I believe that they do in some sense. I'll describe that. But let's start with the About Face one. Not only did they come out with a fair olive shade, but this is also a stunning foundation formula. I use this all the time. This is the Fair Olive shade, which is a little bit dark and it's a little bit yellow. This is slightly more of like a warm olive undertone. This for my foundation today, I ended up mixing with a white concealer just to get the actual like intensity of the foundation a little bit lighter because I am so fair. That's a Fair Olive problem specifically. And then we also have the Rose Inc Skin Smoothing Liquid Foundation. This also claims to be olive. I find this to be like a neutral cool olive undertone. Also pulls a little bit too cool toned on me. Like I feel like I need the middle ground, like just a true neutral olive shade. But this one I would say if you're more of a cool olive is a good match. This one honestly is also a good match. It's definitely a little bit warmer though, so be aware of that. It's a warmer olive shade, but mixed with the white shade, I feel like it's just perfect for me. I also do use the F1 neutral shade of the About Face foundation. Sometimes I will just mix these to make it a little bit lighter. Really awesome that there's now actually two foundations I have that have olive undertones. For concealers, I wanted to mention this is actually a corrector, not this shade specifically. I wanted to mention that they have a green shade of this. Now I haven't personally tried the green shade, but I do have the pink shade. This is a corrector from Exa. It's a little bit more creamy and emollient, but I think that the green shade would be awesome for olive skin just to add into foundations or just to wear on your face to sort of balance out foundation undertones. So I wanted to give that a shout out. Next up for concealers. Now I actually want to explain why I use this concealer all the time. Haus concealer. Apart from that, it's an amazing formula. People will ask me sometimes why I use such a yellow concealer. This is the shade Fair Golden. It's because I do have like cool purple tones under my eyes. When you mix that with a yellow shade, yellow plus blue, it actually equals a green shade, which helps to match the rest of my undertones. Usually we're told to use like cooler undertones under our eyes to cancel out that bluish or purple tone, which, you know, that could work as well. I find that just makes my face seem a little bit off though, because, you know, things can pull really like peachy or pink or warm on us. So I personally really like a like yellow golden concealer. If you've never tried it, give it a shot. Let me know what you think, but also amazing formula from Haus. Next, I also have the Rose Inc concealer in 010, which I don't think I told you the shade of the Rose Inc foundation. It's 2N neutral. This is sort of like, these are almost the same shade exactly. This is like a nice olivey tone. Again, more of like a cool olive for sure. It's a very fair concealer. It's beautiful. It is very emollient as well, so it's not my favorite. The Haus does wear better on me, but I still like this one on the face or if I'm feeling a little bit more dry. Super full coverage, honestly beautiful, and just such a unique tone to find. Next for contour, I love this contour so much. It's just the e.l.f. Halo Glow contour. It's a perfect cool tone. I love the tone of this. It's super affordable. It's also not too pigmented. I just find this so user-friendly and like a good everyday contour product that's not too pigmented. Applicator is not the best, but like for the price, I feel like this is such a hit from e.l.f. e.l.f. will try to dupe a lot of things. Not all of them are hits, but this is a big hit for me. Next is a little bit of a unique one. I wanted to mention this shade. It adds bronziness to the skin without pulling too orange. This is from Jones Road, which is one of their miracle balms. These are very dewy, so just be aware of that. This is the shade Golden Hour, which the tone of this, I feel like is just a really nice balance of like, it does have that warmth to it, but it doesn't pull too yellow or too red. It definitely has a nice like neutral-ish tone. And because it is so sheer, it just looks really beautiful to add a little bit of glow, especially if you have fair skin as well, without being too much. Now, if you do want cool toned or neutral, non-orange bronzer recommendations, I have a full super in-depth video about that. I will have it linked if you're curious and you need even more recommendations. That's why I didn't want to mention too many in this video because I have, you know, a full in-depth one about that. So let me just go over my 2 bronzer recommendations quickly. First is the RMS Beauty. This is the new bronzer from them. This is Beach Walk Betty. I think this is sold out right now. I will have to check if it is back in stock. This is the perfect neutral bronzer for fair olive skin. It doesn't pull orange. It's honestly amazing. Like, look at that tone. It's just such a beautiful neutral bronze. I'm also obsessed with the formula. It's shimmery but looks so skin-like, nice and sheer. It's just perfection. I love their blushes as well, as you probably already know. And then for, well, another quick bronzer recommendation, NYX Buttermelt in Buttercup. When they first launched these, the swatches looked really rosy, which I was excited about. This isn't quite as rosy as they sort of claimed that it was. I did try this on in a video. I also have a full video on the RMS Beauty bronzer, but this is still a really good bronzer option. The reason I'm not using this a ton is I just don't like that it's scented, so just be aware of that. But this is a really beautiful neutral rosy tone, so it's not gonna pull orange. Next for setting powders, I've been meaning to try like a green tinted powder. I just really haven't found one yet. I'm gonna have to include that in the next version of this video if you would like another one. But I do really like this one from Bobbi Brown. This is the vitamin enriched powder in yellow. Now the reason that I like this yellow one is because if I'm wearing a foundation that's just a little bit too cool tone, like maybe the Rose Ink one, where it's more of a cool olive, adding this slight yellow tint does help to take it to a more of a olive range. And it is sheer, so it doesn't like darken your skin too much either. For fair skin, I was like a little bit worried this would make my face darker, but it did not. It's pretty sheer and just has a nice yellow tint to slightly adjust the tone of your foundation. I think products like these are really key for olive skin, just like slight tone adjusters that you can use for any products. And then for highlighters, in my first version of this video, I mentioned the Haus Lab Silver highlight because if all highlights just look off on you and you haven't tried silver, I still really love that one. But if you're still having that same issue, maybe you didn't love the silver, I really like purpley like highlighters because I am more of a cool olive, and this new one from Serum is stunning. I've just been absolutely loving this. It's the shade Frou Frou. It's a little sponge tip applicator. It's just so gorgeous to have that slight cool tone glow. I usually like very cool toned cheek products. I feel like it just brings the look together and looks really natural and cohesive on my skin. So I really, really love this new formula and shade from Serum. But I did want to mention 2 other sort of like unique highlighters to maybe try if you still haven't found your one yet. So this is from Kaleidos. I hope they still have these. I think they do. It's their Space Age Prophecy highlight, which just looks white in the container, but I don't know if you can like even tell. These are insanely pigmented, by the way. They're definitely like a very metallic highlight. This actually has slight green reflect to it. It's mostly like a peachy reflect, so maybe if you are more of like a neutral warm olive, but it has this like greenish bluish tint that I think if you have olive skin like this, I think is really pretty on me, and it's just such a unique shade. It's definitely more dramatic, like I said, not like a super natural looking highlight, but it has such an interesting like duochrome shift to it. I had to mention it. And then another really pretty, more like purpley pink highlight is ColourPop. This is the Sailor Moon collection. This is the shade Moonlight. This looks pink in the pan, but once it's swatched, this is more of a subtle highlight. Has a really pretty bluish, like definitely more, yeah, blue pulling shift versus purple like the Serum one. So if you're more of a cool olive, I think you're really gonna like this super like blue toned one. Really nice and smooth and metallic, so pretty. And then for blushes, I have a couple options here. First is the Bare Minerals bronzer. I like the one Kiss of Rose. Kiss of Pink is pretty as well, but that one pulls a little bit too peachy. I like this one because it's like a bronzy rose. This is a bronzer, so it's like a blush bronzer hybrid. So if you still have a lot of struggle with bronzers, I feel like you need something that's like more like red leaning. This is a really pretty like muted, neutrally bronzy red that I feel like looks really gorgeous on olive skin because it doesn't really like pull one way or the other. I feel like a lot of these products, the reason I love them is because they are more neutral or slightly like unique undertones because Olive Skin has both warm and cool undertones. So when you have like a neutral product or something that has both, it looks cohesive on us. So this is a really pretty one. Definitely more of a shimmery formula, but very pretty. And then I have the Persona blushes. I feel like blushes here are going to be a little bit more of a personal preference. For me, I do really like cool tones, but I wanted to include some options here. So I have Bubble, which is this incredibly purpley cool tone, just like purpley pink blush. I love like purple pink blush. Anything that looks like this, I'm obsessed with. I just find it looks so natural on me. I used to always have problems with blush pulling like warm or peachy. That one is amazing. If you like something more of like a neutral or rosy tone, this shade, which is Caramel, is a gorgeous option for something that's more muted. I do also have a cool slash neutral blush guide, another very in-depth video where I swatch all of my blushes, basically both a cream and a blush version of that video if you want even more options. But my last blush option, I wanted to include a cream. This is from Iris and Romeo. This is a cream stick. I love the shade. It is more of like a mid-tone pink. This just has such a pretty, like it definitely has a cooler tone reflect in it. It's a very dewy blush. I also really like the smell of these. It's kind of weird, but this is just like a perfect neutral rosy, neutral cool rosy tone that looks really pretty on Olive Skin. Now onto eyes. I feel like this category kind of took me the longest to figure out in my own Olive Skin journey, but the first product I want to mention, I think if you have Olive Skin, you're gonna love this palette for neutrals. This is the Master Mattes by Mario, the neutral version. I do really love the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude and also the Xenon palette. Those are specifically more if you like the Xenon, if you like really cool tones, and then the I Need a Nude is more of like a neutral, has some rosy tones in it, but this one is like just a true neutral palette. The reason I love this and really recommend it for Olive Skin is because all of these are pretty muted, but they're also like true neutrals, especially like these kinds of shades which I use today, that they just don't really, they're just truly neutral. Like this is a mustardy tone with cool tones in it, so it doesn't pull too warm or too cool, because if you've tried warm tones you feel like they're too warm, and maybe you're not loving a true cool tone either and you feel like it's pulling too cool, this palette is going to be like the answer for you because it has such a nice balance of both. You do also have a true cool tone gray here and then also more of a warmer brown. So you do have options to push it in either direction, but like the rest of these shades, you're just going to get so much use out of. And they're really beautiful matte formulas, user friendly. They're not ultra pigmented, they're just that perfect amount. In my experience, finding like my kind of metallics has been really difficult, but these are like such gems. I personally really like silver, so I wanted to mention a silver option from Thrive Cosmetics, which is one of their eye brighteners in Raquel, which is just a gorgeous like true silver shade. I have this on my lid today. If you don't like silver though, you find it a little bit too cool, I think this is a really pretty one from Jouer. This is their cream eyeshadow crayon in the shade Organza, which is more of like a stone color. It's definitely more of like a neutral tone, not pulling too cool or too warm. And I just like to wear this one on the lid, silver one on the lid, and then I put this one on the lash line. And you might not think that you could like combine metallics like this, but because both of these are more of like neutral pared back type of tones, I think they look really pretty together, especially with the Mario palette. For me, once I've just stopped like going for true golds, my life has been so much better because I just feel like they always pull too warm on me. There's a lot of pretty muted bronzes out there, but anything that's like a true gold, honestly, I just don't love it anymore. Speaking of gold, this is a really pretty gold liner option that I also did with this eye look. I have 3 different metal tones going on here, but I love how this look came out. This is the Diamond shade. It's the Bare Minerals Mineralist Eyeliner. This shade is like a neutral champagne, slightly like muted gold vibe. Kind of an indescribable shade, but I did this on the upper lash line on the inner corner, in the waterline, and also on the lash line. This will make your eyes sparkle, but it doesn't really like look like makeup too much because it is so like neutral and it kind of blends in with my skin tone. Really highly recommend checking out like muted metallic shades for Olive Skin. This is such a pretty eye look. I'm just loving it. I feel like it really does like enhance my skin and it doesn't seem like I have like an eyeshadow look on, you know what I'm saying? So love these and that palette. Moving on to lips. This lip liner I just newly discovered and I really wanted to share it because it's basically my lip color. and a lip pencil. It's super light, neutral cool tone, it doesn't pull warm. This is from Wonderskin. It's their 360 contour lip liner. This is the shade Blush. You can probably see in the try-on when I'm putting it on, it literally just is my lip color, so it's not gonna contour because it's not dark or anything, but I love that this just like actually matches my lips. Really hard for me to find lip pencils, so this was such a surprise hit. Now, if you need even more cool tone lip liner recommendations, I have a super in-depth video of that one as well. I'm not trying to like sell you on all my different videos. I'm just saying, like, if you need more recommendations, I have in-depth videos. I tried on all of my cool tone lip liners, so you can find one that works for you, because I don't want you to waste money. I wasted so much money on lip liners that pull warm. Like, I don't want that to happen to you, please. Please save yourself. And then I also wanted to talk about this lip balm. This is the MAC Simulation Squirt Plumping Gloss Stick. This is a really interesting, like, muted brown rose that doesn't pull too warm or too gray. In combination with that lip liner, it honestly just looks like my lips, but with lip products on, which is a very, like, I feel like rare thing for me to find. So I've just been like, wow, loving both of these together lately. I really hope you found some new products to try out from this video that will really help enhance your skin and just make you love that you have olive undertones, because I know it is so frustrating and a struggle to have so many products that don't work for you, but that's why I wanted to compile these videos so that you know what to look for and what to buy instead of wasting your money on things that don't work, like I did. Sifted through all the garbage to get you this good stuff. But thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already and give this video a thumbs up, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. I'm gonna link one of my cool tone guides on the video here if you want to check them out. It'll be there so we can keep hanging out. I'll see you over there. Bye.